The number of doctors that own their own practice has dropped nearly 50% in just the last 16 years. Now, considering in 2001, there were already a huge drive out of the private practice into corporate or just leaving practice altogether, that leaves us today with less than 35% of those in practice in their actual private practice today. What does this mean to you? Well, there's consequences in whether we stay in practice, our private practice, or move into more of the corporate situation. They can be good or bad. So if we step out of private practice and we move into the corporate world, what this would mean to you is, number one, you lose the right to practice in the way that you see best fit for those who trust you, your practice members. Number two, you're going to be running your practice according to what bureaucrats find is the right way to do it, including big pharma and insurance company. Not always a pleasant way to go. So I'm here to see if what we can do is to keep you in private practice. Hi, I'm Dr. Charles Webb, founder of Freedom Practice Coaching, and over the next 45 minutes, I want to show you that there really is a better way to practice. And if you hang with me toward the end of this, and again, about 45 minutes, if you hang with me, I want to give you some gifts. One of those will include a 6 training module, video training module, that's going to be able to take some of the pearls that you're going to get over the next 45 minutes, and you can start implementing those immediately into your practice and start seeing some changes right away. So please hang with me through this. You know, my entire team at Freedom Practice Coaching, we understand that you want success, and that success is going to include how you deliver care to your patients, that you want to empower them to a whole nother level, that you want success in financial freedom, and you want success in your lifestyle so you can spend time with your loved ones and travel and do the things that you've earned through your hard work and how you deliver care, your value, if you will, to your community and your clients. So the problem here is we want a better way to practice, but right now we're stuck in this system that's a broken system, and that leaves you frustrated and uncertain about your future. So what I'd like to talk to you about a little bit before I dive into this, because the goal here is to allow you to first and foremost see that there really is a better way and deliver you some hope that, hey, this is real. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about what some of our clients have done, how they did it, but I think it'd be important for you to start a little bit. Let me tell you a little bit about my story. What right do I have to be talking to a lot of doctors out here that already have a tremendous amount of knowledge, etc., but again, may be frustrated. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily struggling with finances, whatever. We've got frustrations can mean, hey, I'm not earning what I should be. It's hard for me to keep my doors open. It also may mean, I'm doing okay, Dr. Webb, financially, but I don't get to see my kids grow up. I'm working 6 days a week. I got paperwork on the weekends, etc. I'm not happy. I don't feel like I'm on purpose. So whatever your frustrations are, we can't remain doing the same thing. We have to step out of it and practice a different way. So let me talk to you a little bit about myself and where I'm coming from, because I've experienced these challenges myself, and I found out how to get out of them. So I actually graduated back in 1987, got my doctorate, and it was in chiropractic. And so when I first started out, I went through practice management, etc. I learned how to build a practice at that time, which was pretty much an insurance practice. And the way that I learned things, like so many doctors out there, whether you're chiropractic, MD, natural path, whatever it might be, what you learned was I've got to in order to be successful, I have to see as many patients as I can and deliver what we're told is the right thing to deliver, and learn how to bill insurance better, all that kind of stuff. And I can tell you, my practice, in my opinion, failed miserably. Now, not financially, I did extremely well. In fact, I did well enough that in '96, just 10 years later, I was able to sell my practice into a public company, and I retired from practice. The reason I did that was because I was burnt out. So when I say it failed me. I don't believe and it failed me, meaning it failed me being able to spend the kind of time that I wanted with my family. And number one, if you're going to jump in to having your own business, we don't just do it for the patients, because if it were just for the patients, it would be a lot more wise to work for someone else and just focus on being the best doctor and just not dealing with the business aspect. But if you're watching this, I'm assuming you have your own practice. We did it because we wanted to be able to run things our way. We did it because we wanted financial freedom. We did it because we didn't want a job. We wanted a business that worked for us. And we did it so we could have freedom to spend watching our kids grow up. But sometimes it just didn't turn out that way. And it didn't for me. And I can tell you, It was tragic because I didn't get to see my daughter grow up, and I don't want that to happen to anyone. So I decided to leave and get out. And I got into other businesses that, quite frankly, again, I did well. I got into real estate, got into concert promotions, made a lot of money, but I was never on purpose. And because I was never on purpose and my intentions weren't really where I needed to move, I fell to having problems later down with I wasn't happy, and outside circumstances affected me more than they should have because I wasn't on purpose. But long story short, when the stock market bubble burst and all of that, I ended up having a lot of investors and everything lose everything, and my companies went under. So I went from financially independent to literally broke as broke, bankrupt, didn't own a house, didn't own a car, nothing. Everything was gone. And so I had to climb out of a hole. So I do know what it's like. I have empathy for people that are in that position. And in order to climb out, I had to figure out what to do. My wife, Mindy, and I sat down, and she says, you're a good doctor. You're a very passionate person. Your purpose here is to help people and serve people. You got to get back in. And I agreed. That's what my purpose is. That's what I want to do. But I had to do it a different way. If I was going to go back, I was not going to be run and dictated by insurance companies. I wasn't going to simply be a technician in my practice. I was going to teach people as a mentor, as a guide, on how to live a better lifestyle to empower them, that they didn't need me, they didn't need medications, et cetera, because I learned how to do that. My health came first. So what I did is I invested into myself to become an entrepreneur, because I finally figured out, even though I have a practice is a business. And there's no other way to look at that. And although I'm a good doctor, I was a really, really crappy business person. It's kind of like, you know, going to school to become the best chef in the world. I'm a cordon bleu chef. And so I feel like I'm entitled to be successful in a restaurant. Not going to happen. A restaurateur is someone that can be successful in the restaurant business. A chef, no. We need chefs. So you can be a really good chef, but you might want to just work for a restaurant until you choose to understand what it takes to run that restaurant. So as doctors, we're the cordon bleu chefs. We're not necessarily the restaurateur. So I knew that I needed to get coaching, but I was not going to go down the practice management side again. To me, that was old school. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't put the patients first, and it didn't put me and my family first. So I wasn't going to do that. So I stepped out of the industry, found me some coaches, and over the next several years, I really learned the secrets, if you will, that entrepreneurs use to build big companies, Fortune 500 companies. And it doesn't matter whether you're a plumber, a painter, a doctor, an MD, a specialist. It doesn't matter what you are, the same model fits. And I was able to take that and put it in to the profession of healthcare providers and practices. So although I was going to continue to get training as a doctor, don't get me wrong, we always have to improve our skills, but we get to a point to where we have plenty of clinical skills. We have to take it to the next place and say, enough. I can be the best doctor in the world, but if I'm only helping 10 people a month, I'm not really serving my purpose. So you're going to get to a point where you have enough clinical, start learning the business side of it, because school didn't give that to us. So I'm going to show you some numbers here, because what I want you to show, what's relevant is, well, Dr. Webb, how do I know that you did really well? Well, how do you measure that? You can say, I had a really successful practice. In fact, I can say I had one of the most successful proactive functional wellness practices, if you will, in the entire country. Well, how do you measure that? Well, one of the ways you measure that is what's the revenue that you generated? How many days a week did it take you to do that? What were the profit margins? Were you able to help a certain amount of patients? So what I want to do is first show you revenue, not as this is what it's all about. I want to make that clear. But if you're going to measure success of a business, the revenue will tell you that. If the revenue is not very high, I can assure you the business is not very successful. And if your true purpose is really to impact your community, as I hear so many doctors say, then you have to say, okay, my job is to grow and flourish, to help expand this thing. So let's go through these numbers, because again, proof's in the pudding. I got back in practice in 2006. And I had to get back by myself. I didn't know anything, guys. When I say I was broke, when it came time, this was just 12 years ago. My son today is 12, and so my wife was pregnant when everything went bye-bye. When it was time for my wife, Minnie, to deliver my son, Landon, I had to borrow a friend's car to get to the hospital, and unfortunately that car ran out of gas on the way to the hospital. So I know what it's like to be down and out. Just 12 and a half, 13 years later, things turned out pretty good, financially independent again, so it doesn't need to take that long, and I'd like to show you guys how to do it in a fraction of the time. I had to figure it out myself. So when I got back in the first year, I had to work out of another office. So, but I was able to generate $363,000, and sometime in that first year, I did hire my first assistant, if you will, front desk, okay? The next year in 2007, generated $520,000. In this time, I was still taking insurance. Not all, but I was still taking insurance. By 2008, I was in my own practice. I think it was in 2007 when I got in. 2008 generated $750,000. I did have, I believe at that point in time, 3 employees. So it was me, two front desk, and an office manager. That's all that it took to do this. And at this point in time, I believe we were pretty close to 100% cash. Now, I'm telling you this not because I want you to fear that, oh, I got to get out of insurance to make this work. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is if you don't have a big portion of your revenue as cash, you're going to find yourself in trouble real quick because insurance is getting tighter and tighter. And who wants to follow what insurance companies dictate to our care? I wasn't going to. All right. So in 2009, something interesting happened. 728 to 1.4 million. I doubled my practice in 2008, 2009. So why is that? Number one, it's great, right? Everyone wants to do that. But what's a little bit different here? 2008, 9. Well, what happened is, if you remember, we went through a great recession due to the real estate market blow up, right? Well, how could you do that, Dr. Webb? Don't outside circumstances regulate your business? No. Not if you know business, and not if you have purpose and have a passion and stay in intent and doing what you're doing. See, I saw businesses all around me crumble. Yet there was other business. A good friend of mine has an unbelievable Brazilian steakhouse. He's got several of them. And when I knew other friends that had restaurants, they were whining and griping and blaming outside circumstances and cutting their prices for their lunch menu and all of this. And I was like, you guys might want to go up and check up Jean's restaurant up here, because when I go to lunch at his restaurant, which seats about 300, he's packed. And his lunch menu was $39 to start with. What was happening here? You see, outside circumstances don't affect people that are running their business right. And the truth be known, people were just holding on to their money a little tighter and being a little bit more careful of letting go of it to where they thought it was an investment. When people came into my office, they thought it was an investment, and they felt clear about it, so they really actually had a little bit more spending capacity during this time because they were being tighter on not giving it to people that didn't give them good service. 2010 went to 1.6, 2011, 1.8, all the way to 2.2 in 2012, and in 2013, we're on our way to hit $3.2 million that year, averaging around $240,000 in cash every month. I sold that clinic, so we didn't hit this number because I sold that clinic in May. And again, the reason I'm showing you this is just this is objective evidence that, yeah, I did what I did, but it's not just me that's doing these things. Now, what's cool, I did this in a 4-day work week. So I'm not telling you that you're in order to do well financially and see a lot of patients. That doesn't mean a 5-6 day work week, which so many of you do, and it's most of the time seeing quite a bit less than the number of new people that I saw. Now, number of visits a week to do that, between me and an associate, we had maybe a total of 80 visits per week. That was it. And so it's not about how many times you see them. It's about helping them resolve and empower them to where they can get to their goal. It's not about your treatment. It's not about what you're delivering. The most valuable thing you're going to deliver is their ability to resolve what it is to get to their goal. So a 4-day work week, which allowed me, that's part of the success equation, deliver better service, more time for my family, And so, yeah, I got to travel a lot. I mean, my family and I, we travel, we travel on average 4 major vacations every year. I've been doing that way back since like 2008 because that's important. I'll never get that time back with my family. And a lot of you might take 1 vacation, maybe 2, but you never take it more than 4 days or 5. We will take 7, 10, 12, 14-day vacations because in your case, if you leave, your practice doesn't make money, and so it's not the cost of the vacation. It's the loss that is perceived or real if you're gone. And so I don't want you to be in that place either. So as we strengthen you for it, what we want to do is help you understand how can you bring in some help to when you're skiing in Tahoe, you can call up and say, how did we do today? And here's some good numbers, okay? So it's just not about me. 76%, we had a third party come in and actually do a study, a survey, and what they found is 76% of Freedom Practice clients that fully participated in our program at least doubled their practice in the first 12 to 18 months. Now, I'm going to show you some cases that are much more than double, and it's not uncommon. Now, when I say participate, these clients actually stepped in and do what we asked them to do. The 24% that's not on here, it's not necessarily that they didn't double their practice, but when we looked at participation level, the people that hit the 76% participated at a level of 7.4 on a scale of 1 to 10. Those in the 24% participated at a 4.2 out of 1 to 10. So it's not that one group was more intelligent, it was just one group was applied themselves more than the other group. So I want to show you some other clients here because I think this is important. One of the first clients that I got was Dr. Dale Sutherland. I opened Freedom Practice Coaching a little over 4 years ago, back in 2012. And the 3 years that we looked back in Dr. Sutherland's history before he came aboard, he was averaging around $500,000 a year. Not a bad practice. So I think he was somewhere around $45,000, $46,000 a month. The problem is overhead was $39,000 a month. So again, revenue doesn't necessarily mean anything. And so if you look at the revenue that I was generating, again, understand that was on a 4-day work week. I had a total of 5 total employees, including my associate, and 1,600 square foot. So we had very, very nice margins. So in 2013, the first year that Dr. Dale Sutherland came on board, he did $987,000. So first 12 months, doubled his practice. And then the next 12 months, nearly doubled again to $1.772 million. Next person, Dr. Jay Goodbinder. 2013, he did $18,000. Not a month, in the entire year. 2014, $30,000. Jay was ready to step out for obvious reasons. He's done. It doesn't work anymore. The system's broke. I can't get people don't care about their health. Whatever reason, I'm not doing well. There's plenty of reasons we can find to justify it. But we found him, he found us, and we decided to move forward with him. In 2015, the first year with us, things changed dramatically. He went to $1.2 million. Well, how can that be, Dr. Webb? Stick with me here. This is going to start making more sense as I go through. It's really 1, 2, 3 ABC. It's not rocket science. I'm not going to squirt a fire hose at you trying to figure this out because it's not that difficult. It's kind of like, you know, we stick with taxi cabs all these years, even though they're grungy, they're dirty, they get the plexiglass, you're going to pull your wallet out, and that was just accepted. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be until Uber comes along. And we find out how simple, how easy is this, and what a much more, a better model that people win on both sides. The drivers win, the people, the riders win. You don't have to carry your wallet. I'm going to help Uberize your practice, if you will. Okay, so and then in 2016 he is up to 1.5. Now, Dr. Jay Goodbinder, if you look him up, you'll find that this guy travels the world now. He had his own TV show. I don't know if he still does, but he's a guest speaker. They pay him to travel, and he learned that through what we teach at FPC, all the communication skills, how to get out there, how to become the expert, and it paid off very well. Dr. Sheila Kilbane, Dr. Sheila, she was averaging around 90,000 or so, almost 100, and she started with us in 2015, and in 2016 took her practice to 314, so tripled her practice the first year. Last example I'm going to give you here, Dr. Betsy Buchart. This is interesting. She started in 2015. 528, so more than doubled her practice her first year. This was part-time. because she's full-time OBGYN. In this case, she did a lot of change there in a short period of time, only part-time. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the difference. How do we do things different? The practice management model and the doctor entrepreneur model, because this can be confusing. I know a lot of you have actually gone out and done this practice management model. You're burnt out of it, you're skeptical about it, and you're a little scared to get back in. I don't blame you. The last thing you need is a practice management model. So let's talk the difference between what does that look like to your patient experience, the practice management model. One, very little time with you, the doctor. Impersonal. Care is limited and dictated by insurance. Patient wants you to solve their problems. Doctor, you're the doctor. You fix me. I'm entitled because I have insurance. Often can't get the results they're looking for. Often, probably more than not. Doctor, as much time as needed with the doctor. So in the entrepreneur model, the patient, the practice member, gets as much time as needed with you, the doctor. And that doesn't mean 45-minute appointments, guys. It doesn't mean an hour appointments. Just because your visit is real long, that doesn't dictate value. What is exchanged, what knowledge is exchanged is value. When you start having these long visits that are follow-up visits that are 45 minutes an hour, you're really just becoming the psychotherapist, and part of it's about your ego that they need you, and that's not what you want. You want them to become the hero. You want yourself to be the guide, and if we can get to that place where you're the mentor and not, well, you have to see me the rest of your life. Now, if you do that, if you become a good guide and they become the hero, trust me, they're not leaving. They're aging. They're always going to need you as that guide to help them and continue to stay in better health, right? It's personalized care. Care is not limited or dictated by the insurance. Patient takes responsibility for their health. So, doctor, this is a partnership. Yeah. So I've got this to do. You're going to do this. You're my guide. You're my mentor, but I have the responsibility. Get great results and often send referrals. Well, if you are giving them a different experience, you're the Uber. You're not the taxi. You're going to get more referrals. You're not a commodity anymore. So let's look at what this means to the doctor, you. If the practice management model, see as many patients a week as you can. Been there, done that, and I got out. Little time to spend with patients. Yeah, 7 minutes. I can really get a lot done in 7 minutes. Unpredictable insurance payments. Well, I did my work, but hopefully I get paid. Focus on the quantity of patients. How many we seeing? That's like bragging rights to see how many you see. Again, in my practice, we were able to help 30, 35, people a month. But that still didn't add up to any more than 80, 90 visits a week because they were coming to classes. They were doing other things in their curriculum. They didn't need that many one-on-one visits. It was a curriculum. Work 5 to 6 days a week in this model, so of course you don't get to see your family. Doctor entrepreneur model, practice is dependent on you, meaning you can't take trips or anything if you're not there. So it's not really a business here. This is a job, just a glorified job. See as many patients as you want or need. What do you want? Do you want to help 15 a month? Do you want to help 20 a month? What it is. Look at building your business around your lifestyle. I always tell people, look out 3 to 5 years. Tell me what life looks like. Well, I'd like to be taking 4 vacations a year. I'd like to have this much going to savings. I'd like to be able to give this much to my church. I'd like to never miss a game with my son, my daughter. I'd like to have date nights. I want to see the world, whatever those are, and then build your business around that. Because too often doctors will say, I want this for my business, this for my business, and I go, well, what do you want for your life? And they're not congruent. Oh, I want to see all my patients. Well, then you don't need to take vacations. Oh, well, that's not congruent, is it? No. So look at your life and build the business around the life. See as many patients as you want, as much time as needed with your patients. That might mean the initial visit, maybe it is an hour. But after that, maybe instead of 7-minute visits, you actually get to spend 20, 25 minutes or whatever that might be. You control your own financial destiny. Focus on the quality. Give them an experience that they talk about. Don't be a commodity. Step out. Don't compare yourself to other doctors in the community because the majority of them, 90% of them, are doing it wrong. You're working 4 days a week, maybe less than that. Your practice can be independent of you. So what I want to talk about is just the absolute mandatory systems that have to be in your practice, and we won't be able to cover all these systems right now because it's a short period of time, but I do want to cover some a little bit more in detail. So I want to start here with promotion. What does that mean? If you don't have systems in place that are constantly promoting you, exposing you to your community as the expert, then you're going to sit in your little island, your little box, and just go, well, I don't need to market. I'm 100% referral. Well, how's that working out? Are you fully successful in all aspects? You're helping as many people as you want, you're financially independent, and you have all the free time you want. If that's not happening, then we have to realize I've got to build more. So I look at people like Dr. Oz, for example, who promoted the heck out of himself, and quite frankly, whether you like him or not, he's helped doctors like us get the message out. There's another way besides traditional. So maybe he's helping people with his abilities, with how he's promoting, what he does on TV. Maybe he helps these people at 50%. And you know someone comes to you, you help them at 90%. Well, I got to tell you, helping millions at 50% is more impactful than helping 10 a month at 90%. So we have to kind of look at this. How do I promote myself? We're going to teach you how to promote yourself in a way that you become the expert, that people in your community and your colleagues respect you. Pre-educate. How do we make certain that the people that are interested in us have full knowledge and understanding before they were step day one into our practice? Number 3, positioning ourselves as the expert and learning how to communicate our message properly. And then packaging, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because getting out of the fee per service model is going to be very important to you if you really, really have a goal of empowering your practice members. And this is going to leave our patients who have breakthrough health outcomes and put us at a whole different level outside of most of the practitioners around us. So let's talk about a couple of these. Pre-education. Pre-education, when the typical person comes into you, the prospective patient, their mindset is, I'm the patient. That's why we don't even call them patients. We call them practice members, because a patient, that basically implies that I must be sick, there's something wrong with me, and my insurance should cover it. That's what it implies. So I'm the patient, you're the doctor, you're responsible to fix me, I'm not responsible for myself, and I'm entitled to it because I have insurance. We don't want that. We want to pre-educate this person so they have a proactive mindset, meaning they're going to learn, they understand they're less healthy than they might think they are or should be. They're going to understand the value and the investment of taking their health to another level, not just being mediocrity. How do we really get this? Maybe you didn't have hope. Know that it won't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. What we don't want to do is take the traditional patient and say, this is bad, this is reactive care, you're just taking pharmaceutical medicines. Come over to my office and we'll be reactive and we'll just give you supplements, and you'll just replace one system with the other, except one of them's less toxic. We don't want to just treat symptoms. We want to empower people to move to a new place. So they're going to come into agreement that it won't happen overnight. They're going to recognize and respect you as the expert and be compliant. They're going to agree that 100% that it is a partnership. Again, you are the guide. They want to be the hero. Okay? See their health as an investment, not an expense. When you hear someone say, how much is it? We need to find out, do you mean what the investment is or what the expense is? Yeah, how much does it cost? Well, that right there tells you're not ready to talk about finances, because they're still seeing it as an expense, and there's a reason why. I can't get into a lot of depth, but part of it is they believe they're buying your services and treatment and not investing into the destiny of where they want to go for their goals. Okay? Pre-educated prospect is thinking, now here's where they are. They come into your office, they've been pre-educated, and we'll show you how to pre-educate them. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm excited for you to help me reach my long-term goals. I hope that you can help me, and if you can, I hope that you'll accept my case. And if you do, I hope that you have payment arrangements so I can put this into my budget. That's a whole different mindset. Instead of them walking in, handing you an insurance card, or do you take my insurance? We don't want that to happen anymore. So we're going to make certain they get to a place prior to ever coming in, they're fully educated. Okay? So should you accept everyone? Absolutely not. FBC, do we accept everyone? Absolutely not. It's actually a process and an application process that people go through, because if you accept everyone, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble with a lot of people that you don't want to work with, and neither do your staff, and you're not going to get good people talking good things about you. So we want to know that this person is accepting compliance. We want to know that they're coachable, and we want to know that you are fully confident in helping them. If you don't believe that you can help a case, do what you can to refer them out. Find other practitioners. And when people came to my office, if I knew I could help them, great. But I always worked with other practitioners. I'd get on the phone. I knew a lot of really talented practitioners, and I'm okay reaching out. In fact, your practice members love it when they hear that, hey, if I need some help, I'm going to reach out to some really top docs in the country. But if there were cases where I knew it just wasn't a fit for me, I just tell them, I'm sorry, here's where we are now, but let me do what I can. I think I've got a couple of names for you. Okay? Health is an investment, not expense. We just covered that. Okay, packaging. Let's talk about this a little bit. What do I mean by this? Okay, let's take a look at an example here of the typical orthodontist. Now, a lot of you may have wore braces, maybe you have children that wear braces, but when you decided to get braces for yourself or your child, you didn't decide that, well, let's see, I just want them to have straight teeth. No, you wanted more than that. And primarily what you wanted, probably more than anything, was a beautiful smile. You wanted your child to be confident, or yourself, or your parents. My parents put braces on me. Thank God they did, or I'd have crooked teeth. And I want a really nice smile. That's important to me, right? That builds my confidence. Obviously, there could be health problems and with the jaw and bone and all of that, but primarily, we know that it's to have a beautiful smile. And an orthodontist, when you come in, what he wants to find out is exactly what your expectations are, and maybe why do you want a beautiful smile. What he's not going to talk about is all the gear and stuff. And what he's not going to sell you is, let's talk about what your cost is, okay? He's not going to use those words, and he's not going to say, well, you're going to get 30 of these cusp and these bands and these rubber bands, and I'm going to give you a water pick and all these things I'm going to do. No, he's going to say, maybe there's two options. One, it'll take us about 2 years to get there, and we're going to be using this model here, and this is what your expectations are. Here's how often probably you need to come in, but it'll probably take this. Here's your responsibilities on your side. We're going to get you, and that option, if we do that, that's $6,500. That's your investment, not your cost. That's your investment. There's another path we can take. We've got a new technology that allows us to move those teeth quicker, a little easier, and you won't see all this metal. And that actually could take us probably no more than 14 months. That option's $9,000. Notice that the shorter option is more. So people aren't seeing a transaction of value by how much stuff you're giving them or how much time. What they see is, can you get me there quickly, less pain, better, I want to be confident, but I want my beautiful smile. So there doesn't really need to be any justification of paperwork on what you're getting. That's not there. The investment is $7,000 or $9,000, which one works better? And as doctors, we have a tendency to justify our fee by how much crap we give them. They really don't care about what your service or your treatment is. What they care about is the destiny. So let's keep the investment on the destiny. The minute you pull a piece of paper out and start covering it like this to justify your fee, now what they see is this piece of paper, is that worth my investment, or does that just look like an expense to me? Okay, so that gives you a little bit of idea. And let me give you a little example of what I mean by here. I had a chronic low back situation. Yes, I tried everything. I tried chiropractic, acupuncture, cryotherapy, decompression, you name it, pulse electromagnetic field, infrared. I did everything, and it got to the point to where it was really, really creating problems in my life. I couldn't do the things I wanted to with my son. He's almost 13 now. He's a ball player. I like to go out and throw a ball and catch him. He's a pitcher. I like to work out, stay in shape. I like to have intimacy with my wife, and all of them were being affected. So my life, I needed to change. I didn't like where I was at. I wanted a new destiny. I wanted to go to Tahiti, where everything was beautiful, right? So I finally found a doctor that offered a service. And it was basically, I won't get you in the details, but it was a biological that he used, that he injected into the annulus to seal it so there's no more leakage of the disc. And if I did that, there wouldn't be any more pain. There's not a cytotoxic element occurring, and it would go away. I didn't have to do any surgery, didn't have to do, because he was a surgeon, and he said it doesn't work, and here's why. So I talked to a few people that had done his service. They just offered it to me. Here's some people to call. I looked into it. He gave me very little detail, but it was simple. It made sense. ABC 1, 2, 3. I didn't need all the detail. What he didn't do is say, Dr. Webb, I'm going to use this for the anesthesia. I'm going to use this needle and blah, blah, blah. No. The procedure was 30 minutes, and it was $25,000 cash. No insurance, $25,000 cash. Now, is that fair? Well, thank God that I had the ability to find someone to save my life. $25,000. Now, for me, that was no big deal, but everyone I talked to on the phone, most of them had to get loans. Is that worth it? Hell yes, it's worth it, because you're changing a life. Now, before we judge this guy and go, well, why doesn't it make it more affordable? Well, I don't know if you realize how many millions it probably took for him to get this patented and everything done in his research and his time. And someday it probably will go lower. But the bottom line is, it's not about the time. I wish it would have taken 10 minutes. It's not about how much stuff he did. It was the result. And so many of you are nowhere charging anywhere close to the value. An orthodontist can get $7,000. Breast augmentation can get $11,000. You're changing someone's life, and you're fearful of charging $4,000 or $5,000. In fact, you've got these daily visits of less than $100 or something. It's madness. So if you don't believe there's value, I can assure you that the people working with you, they won't see any value either. In fact, I know personal trainers making a lot more than most doctors today. So there's just a missing link here that we got to figure out. So what's your ethical responsibility of packing the service? Meaning, number one, should you communicate the need? What does that need they need to achieve their goals? So yes, what do you want? Why do you want to get rid of the pain, John? Why do you want to lose the weight? Why is it important to get your sex drive back? But you've got to find out, what does that look like? And they're going to tell you, because no one else asked them. They just address their symptoms, and we can make you feel better. Why? We've got to know where they want to go. And then once we know where they want to go, then we can identify what the financial commitment be like. But in between here is, where do you want to go? Do you understand this is a partnership? Do you understand whether it's a mild, moderate, severe? You're going to figure that out in 10 minutes, and you can put them in that category and say, you know what? If you really want to go here, let me tell you up front what it looks like. 3 months, 4 months, whatever. But I got you. And in that period of time, what we need, we got you. Here's investment. Go back to the braces. We got you. It's going to take 12 months. You're going to have beautiful teeth. What do we do in between? We got you. What's the investment? $7,000. Great, doctor. Thank you for respecting me and let me know up front, so now I can budget for that. And so many of you, you're not doing that. And so they get down the line, and you wonder why they're not compliant, because they got to pull their wallet out every time they come and see you. And that's painful. And they're kind of like, why didn't you tell me up front that was going to be this much time and this, so I could budget for it and know what my job was? You have the ethical responsibility to give them that choice. Now, you might have options. You might say, this is where you want to go. Option A, option B. One may be, maybe this is a little too tough for you financially now. Here's option B. But none of the options should be come as you wish, and then you're just reactive care. Okay, so now it comes down to making a choice. I told you that I'm going to have some gifts for you. So let me tell you what those are, but in just a sec, you're going to have a choice. You can continue. If you're frustrated, you're going to have to make change. You've got two paths here. So the one change is move forward, and let's take the next step here. The other, stay on your same path. Well, just keep looking. Well, how long are you going to look? Number one, we might not be a fit. We might not be the coach for you, but you've got to get a coach if you don't have one, and you need something outside of a practice management coach. You need an entrepreneur if you're in a business. If you want to take the path of going, I got to do something different, and this sounds real. You gave me some other doctors, what the results were and so forth. I can give you more. I can send you to a site where you can learn all about that. But to take the next step here, I told you, I promise you some lessons, so I want you to get those. The other thing to do is schedule a discovery call. Now what that is, we're not selling you anything on this call. It's not going to happen. Okay, what we are doing is helping identify a little bit about who you are, what are you looking for. Let's give you some more information about us. Let me look at your practice analysis here so I can find maybe some challenges that you're not seeing and give you some pearls right away outside of the lessons that we'll send you when you do schedule the call. But what can we do right now? Where are you at now? Is this a fit? And so the thing to do is first and foremost, to schedule a call, what's important is you really do have to have a strong sense of purpose. If you're okay, mediocrity, the status quo, it's probably not ready to move, okay? We're looking for people that really say, hey, I want more out of life. Acknowledge that you don't know everything. I have several coaches. I have 2 coaches right now that are business coaches in my life. I'll always have coaches willing to be coached and go outside your comfort zone. Got to be willing to go outside the comfort zone. That doesn't mean it's more painful. It's just you're not used to it. Discipline to take action and improve each week, meaning I can implement. Done with the poverty mindset. Optimistic on solution focus. So take the right path. There's nothing worse than just sitting and not making change. If you're frustrated, guys, 30 minutes is an investment of your time. Get on the call with and then find out where can I go from here, and if it makes sense, then we'll have an opportunity to actually go to a training day. But let's talk a little bit and find out where you are. Thanks for staying the entire time, and good luck to you guys. Let us be a part of your team. Look forward to it. Look forward to you calling soon. Take care.